All right, so this session is themed Small Money, Big Future, and how students can build wealth for generations. How many of you heard of Poriel's pitch? Over the weekend, there was a massive crowd at the Good Park at, what's it called? The Accra Mall. And this is the handiwork of one young lady who is making use of social media. And from the little I've gathered, she didn't start now. She's in her early 20s. It means she started somewhere around, late teens, 18, thereabout. And so I engaged Sharon from the beginning, and I was telling her how dumbfounded I was at the crowd and the amount of money this young lady is actually making. And at her age. And so I guess this is just going to say that money making is not about age. Really, it is about your drive. And so I hope that this little seed we are planting today will go a long way to encourage you to do more. All right? Okay, so let's start off with getting to know our panel. Let's get to know ourselves. Let's get to know ourselves. My name is Sheila, like I already mentioned. I'm a broadcast journalist with the Multimedia Group, and my favorite food is banku. Banku and okro, I might add. So in case you want to get something for me, banku and okro will do. All right, Sharon.
Okay, so my name is Sharon Akwe. I'm a senior manager with the Accounting Advisory Service Unit of KPMG. I lead the financial reporting and technical accounting service line. And my favorite food is wache.
Love that.
Oh,
looks like you have a baka.
Yeah, so I would just like to say that growing up, I wasn't as privileged as you are to learn about financial literacy and saving, investing, and even trying to make money for yourselves at this age. I had my parents in school. They gave me money, and I ended up using all. I tried to save, but it didn't work. So I'm happy to be here to share the lessons that I learned from not having that knowledge and the little tips that I have on wealth generation. Thank you.
And of course, by all indications, our father on the panel, Mr. Daniel Ofori-Dankwa.
Thank you. I think I'll start from the end. Fufu and Nkatsankwan. Where are you, Fufu people? Fufu people, where are you? Oh! Right. So my name is Daniel Ofori-Dankwa. I'm sold out for youth. Completely sold out for youth. And so much so that in 2015, I went back to Cape Coast University for a second master's degree, purposefully in counseling and emphasis on youth. And so my organization, Pro Patria, stands on the three legs of youth, enterprise, and the God factor. Youth, enterprise, and the God factor. And that is what we are committed to do, and that is why we are here. And that is how I am connected to Peter and CFLE Africa. So I'm a chartered banker, retired, and minding myself in my own corner. And then also a professional counselor and a youth life coach. Thank you very much.
Madam Mimi.
Okay, so my name is Mimi Ananiapia. Currently work as a business development manager, leading retail business with Fidelity Securities, which is basically the fund management wing of Fidelity Bank. Apart from that, I also run Investment Friend with my partner, and we do a lot of financial literacy. And our hope is also to ensure that people get to know more about money, but not just know. We go beyond knowing to actually helping people inculcate the right habit. And it's nice when you have people who say, I haven't saved for a year in my whole life before, and now I can do that. When people see the results, it encourages them to keep on pushing. At the end of the day, we want the people to do well, and we want their families to also do well as a result. So that's what I do a lot of. I've always done financial literacy ever since I remember. Favorite food, that's a big question. I've thought about it. I like fried food. That's not good for me, but that's what I like.
All right, thank you very much. And now to Madam Priscilla Eshiam.
Banku and pepe with fish. Right. So maybe you thought I was going to say fried rice or jollof or something. Anyway, so a banking professional with circa 20 years in the sector. I remember my humble days in Legon, finishing in 2005, 2006. I kind of stumbled into banking, and it's been eye-opening. For someone who was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth, understanding money has really liberated me financially. And I deem it as an opportunity, a joy, a delight to share some tips with you on understanding money, owning money, controlling money, and governing money. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause to this wholesome panel. Indeed, we are going to be liberated this morning. Let's start off on a personal note, right? Looking back at your high school days, Madam Sharon Okoye, what is that one important lesson that you wish you had learned earlier from school?
All right. Thank you, Sheila, for the question. And this question actually makes me feel like I have an opportunity to advise my younger self. Okay, so if I could go back to my high school self and teach myself one money lesson, it would be to start investing and saving early, no matter how small the amount is, and to believe that my future self is worth investing in. So growing up, as I said, I felt like making money was something that was very distant, and I would have to deal with later in life when I had started working and all that. However, I came to realize that the greatest financial advantage is not the big salary, but time. So the time that you have to invest and save, the time that you have for your investments and savings to grow, and the time that you have for your financial choices to compound. If I'd learned to save and invest early on a consistent basis, it would have changed how I saw myself. I would have understood that I didn't need to wait to feel powerful or prepared to save, and that with the little that I had, I already was. And that knowledge would have given me the confidence and courage to dream bigger without fear. What I should say I know now is that financial freedom is not necessarily about how much you earn, but the financial habits that you learn very early on in life. And I just wish I had known that earlier. Yeah, thank you.
Well, we hope you heard that. All right. Now, Madam Priscilla, you know, the concept of gaining money, a lot of the times our parents, at least growing up, that has been my experience, our parents, you know, tell us to focus more on your education rather than, you know, money or money making, because money can be addictive. For some people, they start and then immediately they see some small money, they abandon the books. So it becomes a very dicey and complicated position. But from your experience, would you think it's a good place to start as young as, say, a teenager, someone in senior high school, to start thinking about money and wealth making?
Thank you very much for the question. Yes, the earlier, the better. And if money is addictive and whilst going to school, you have access to some small money, why abandon school? Because you see, school is another multiple stream. I mean, another stream of income. If you want to make money, you need to understand there are multiple streams of income. So there are things you can gain with your skill. I mean, even though I do banking and I've done banking for 20 years, I have my passion. And what I do on the side also fetch me something, and that settles some bills as well. So you don't abandon one money-making avenue, such as school, because you have come into money from another skill. No, you don't. Building the habits of coming into money, saving money, managing money, is a trick. Let me say it like this. Our habits form our character, and our character become our destiny. So managing money, saving money, getting addicted to money, it means you develop the habit of understanding money. There are lessons you learn only from managing money. Like whatever hack we had this morning, it's only from organizing such events that you realize that you do face certain headaches, isn't it? So as you manage money, or you're always coming into contact with money, trying to save money, invest here and there are lessons you will learn that will not be from the book. It will be by experience. So starting early is important. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Now, on the back of what she just said, Mr. Daniel, creating wealth, or wealth for generations, for a young mind. It feels like this is supposed to be my father's responsibility. My father will have to create the wealth, and then I will have to, either follow in his footsteps or branch into my own ideology to make, some money for myself. So for a younger student, how should I process the idea or concept of making wealth for generations?
Thank you. Briefly, your father was a student like you. And so, conversely, you become a father like your father. That's all. So, you would have to go through the processes that your father went through to make that money. And there are so many stories continuously where if the second generation, that is us, the youth, we don't learn the fundamentals of wealth creation, your father may leave you 10 cars, 20 houses, and it will all disappear. And you would have nothing to leave for your children. And so you would have then collapsed the family history, the family legacy, the family heritage. And is that what we want to do? For it to be said that in our time, we collapsed what our grandfather and our father had done. So it is important to, from today, have a change in the mindset and begin to have your own vision to propagate your own wealth. And then also, if right now your father has some wealth, to help to even improve upon it. Thank you.
Madam Mimi, making money, there's a saying in Akan, yedinam ene yinam. So making money would require that you have some money. So how much money do I need to have from a young person's perspective in order to make money?
Okay. So, like has already been said, there's more emphasis on the habits and the time, because as a young person, the advantage, you may not have as much money, but the advantage you have over me is time, and so it's not about how much you earn. I know this sounds like a cliche, but it's really not about how much you earn. For me, it's about habit and consistency over time. So even if maybe on a weekly basis for now, because you are not earning money, your main goal right now is to go through school. Even if on a weekly basis you are able to save, let's say 10 cedis, I don't know how much you take home, you have in your pocket. So let's say 10 cedis, and you do it consistently. It is that same habit that you would require to save 10,000 when you get there. Because sometimes we assume that when we get there, we'll be able to save. The truth is that your responsibilities are going to rise to a level that will shock you. You understand? So for me, I was lucky, let me put it, because my dad took me through some experiences, and I think I overlearned. So I started saving very early. By senior secondary, I don't spend the money I take to school. That's how bad it was. And that has helped me, even though I think I should have learned a bit more of how to take risk, because it became like I'm afraid to spend because I'll lose. What I should have taken was, how do I put this money to work? But it's that same habit that I've worked on, the areas that I had issues with, that I'm using today. And up to today, saving is not a struggle because I started long time ago. So no matter how much you get, even if it's 1 cedi, remember at this stage, it's all about the habit. So just consistently put it away. And when you have more, you put more. When you have more. And compound interest also makes, I remember when I was working in pensions, we used to talk about this a lot. 100 cedis over 30 years at an interest rate of 18% will give you 1.4. Now, if you ask somebody for 1.4 in 30 years, a lot of people won't have. That's the truth. But guess what? You had 100 cedis every month that you made go away. So this is just to make it practical.
All right. Madam Priscilla, so money-making habits, and you've practicalized some for us, but what are some money-making habits that we can, start practicing today as young people?
Thank you. So let me just pick up from where Mimi left off. Compound interest is a wonder. It's the 8th wonder. I think it was Albert Einstein who said, compound interest is a wonder. Those who understand it will earn it, and those who don't will pay it. So like she said, time, that is what we have. As young people, what you have is time. And it's not too much about the quantum, but the frequency and the length of time. So that if you put 100 cedis down, compound interest means that principal eventually, let's say on a 10% earning, will give you, say, 110. You will now be earning on 110, then 120, then 130. So your interest compounds back to the principal and you are earning back on it. So end of the day, what you put through becomes so huge. That's the concept of compound interest. But let me ask this question about the behavior. This is what you ask. So assuming I gave all of us here in the auditorium 1,000 cedis, all of you, you're not shouting if I give you 1,000. I mean, it's like you don't think I can give you 1,000. Assuming I gave all of you 1,000 cedis, right? In a month, how many of you would have some of that 1,000 cedis left? Let me see by hand. In a month, how many will have some of that 1,000 cedis? Okay. We are not that, we are kind of prudent. And then in that same month, how many of you would have grown that 1,000 cedis? Okay. Are you sure?
I was going to ask the question, are you sure?
Ask you, are you sure? Okay, so it looks like we do have some understanding of money and some, we are kind of financially prudent. Yes, so money habits is dividing any money that comes into your hands into portions. So I would go with 3. So you budget your money, whatever money comes into your hands. So from your needs, That's your transport, your food, your utilities, if you have to pay same, to your investment. You need to save. Some of us save after we spend, but do it the other way round. Save first and then spend the rest. So the three is your needs or your savings first, your needs or your investments, and then investment and savings. So your needs, investment, and savings. And when I say investment, it's not to put it on your mobile money wallets where you have easy access to. It has to be put somewhere that is long to reach, okay? And then your needs, of course, you take care of your stuff, and then your savings. And let every money work for you. Some susu, mobile money wallets here, and there. That's how you divide your money and let your money work for you.
All right, thank you very much. A round of applause. That was quite insightful. Thank you. So, Madam Sharon, we are young people, right? And what skills can we acquire now in order to make money? And is it, I'll borrow her word, is it prudent to even acquire a skill now as a young person, you know, juggling this skill acquisition with your education, you know, and then, you know, moving forward to making money with that skill?
I would say yes, it's very prudent, and one of the safest and realistic skills that, or ways by which I think students can make money is by leveraging on the talents, hobbies, and skills that they have, and the ones that they can learn very quickly without compromising on their studies. So one is through digital skills. It's a huge opportunity now. You can learn graphic design, you can learn basic coding, video editing, social media management. This is huge currently because a lot of people are making money through YouTube channels and having Instagram pages and Facebook pages and all that. This helps you earn remotely and also work flexibly. And the key to this is quite simple. You can start with small gigs, you can do an internship, you can do a freelance project and build your confidence and portfolio over time. Another way by which I see that students can earn money is through small school-friendly businesses. Okay, so you can probably have, or if you are good with homemade goods, you can make some homemade goods to sell, provisions, snacks, thrift reselling, photography. All these will teach you responsibility, customer service, and basic money management, okay, which you can have for your entire lifetime. The main thing here is to ensure that you work around your work schedule, your school schedule, and that it doesn't impact your studies, because your main focus for going to school is to learn. Okay, so try and work around that. Also, there's internships, paid and unpaid internships. All provide real-world exposure. So the paid internships will give you some money and also the learning experience, while the unpaid ones are also very valuable if they are able to provide you with mentorship, hands-on experience, and professional networks. And I'll say that students should focus or prioritize internships that add to their skills and long-term employability and in the industries that they are mostly curious on. So these are the three areas I would like to touch on how students can learn with their skills and then make money as well. Thank you.
So Grandpa will let us in a little on how to use our creativity to make money. Now, I see a lot of young content creators on social media, especially TikTok. Do we have some TikTok dancers here? We do. Oh, do we have some of them here?
The teachers are here.
Oh, their teachers are here.
crazy. Huh?
Well, a lot of young people are making money. I happen to produce a kids program on the multimedia group channel. It's called For Kids Paradise. And most of the time, at least for the past 6 months, a lot of the people we bring on the show are content creators. And somehow, the idea that traditional media is borrowing from the new media. Now people are being paid, because when I go for these content creators, I pay them. I pay them to come on my channel for my viewers, who they will in return go and cut the portion back to their channels and make more money. And so, Mr. Daniel, how can we turn our talent, how can we turn our skills into a money-making agenda?
Right. Thank you. So, the first thing is to identify your talent. That is the most important thing. And you can identify it from, as you were growing up, the things that you were so much interested in, the things that your parents were saying that, oh, you are good in this, or your colleagues, or your friends, and so on and so forth. Once you get the talent, or you confirm the talent, then you now have to enhance the talent or develop the talent into a skill. Are you getting the sequence? You need to start from the talent, develop it into a skill. And then now you have to move into applying the skill. And you would have to look out, number one, I would say for the needs of people. For the needs of people. There's a story of one who started with flowers. Well, that was the interest. And then as he became more knowledgeable in the flowers business, and then he moved out to East Legon, Trazaco, Laboni, cantonments, and offered his skill free of charge initially to the wealthy men in these areas. And once he did it so well, then they would call him, and now when he comes back, they actually pay him more than he would have suggested. So look out for volunteerism as well. As our sister said, look out for areas that you can offer your skill. Not necessarily initially, with money, but once you do it and do it very well, the opportunities begin to compound. The word compound, So that is the way to go. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I also think that we should also be clear on the kind of, because sometimes not all talent needs to be nurtured. Some of them can be quite dangerous. For instance, if you're a dancer, you should know the kind of dance moves you portray on socials, just so you don't gain a bad reputation for yourself as you go. Right, Mr. Daniel?
Absolutely. In all things, that's why we say the third factor is the God factor. And when we say the God factor, it's not only about going to the church or to the mosque. The God factor has to do with ethics. And you have to start inculcating ethics and morality into your life vision right from now. Because you can make all the money, and particularly with the, as you said, in the modern day, you make all the money, and one video or one skit that you did wrongly years ago, it is said that the internet has no, what's the word? Expiry date. So listen to me, my young people. In 20 years, some of you are going to become ministers, parliamentarians, big people in Ghana and in the world.
You didn't clap to that. Come on.
Say amen.
Say amen. Exactly.
Are you there? We don't always have to say receive it before you receive. So just take it and run with it. And so know that your footsteps, your history, your footprints in the social media can come back later on. So I think that is the piece.
Very well said. Very well said. Now, Madam Mimi, is in which universe can we make money without money? Is it possible? Is it attainable?
If you provide a service, you can make money without money. Like, just an example, he gave the flower example. So he takes himself, he knows about these flowers, and then he's able to. I think now is different from the past where you need to, not to say don't go to school, please go to school, it's very important. Where you need to, go to school, finish this before you make money. Now, even with YouTube, there are certain free resources that you can tap into to learn a skill or two. And like we spoke about, interning with people, these are ways you can learn a skill to make money. So it always does not require you actually having money to make money. But once you make the money, I think we've spoken a lot about making money. How about multiplying that money? Because sometimes the making money is tied to us working. And when we cease working, the money ends. Now we want, as we start making money, we want to progress to that money making money for us. So that if one day you decide that maybe I'm not working anymore, I want to pursue my passions, maybe it's not very profit, driven, you can actually do that. That's where investment comes in. And in this day and age where there's a lot of information and misinformation, it's a very good time to start learning about investments. What are the investment vehicles? Who are the regulators? There's insurance, there's pensions. Learn about all those things so that we can make well-informed financial decisions. So yes, you can actually start making money with no money at all, but sometimes it's all an issue of mindset, are we willing to, like he said, go and do something for free? Because as you are doing it, you are building trust. Trust is currency. You understand? So we need to change our mindset. Not everything starts with money.
That's good. Now, a lot of the nuggets we are receiving here, they are not subjects in schools. A lot of them, in fact, money is not taught in the classroom. How to make money is not, part of our curricula. It is far away from us, and for a lot of people, it is quite foreign. So, Madam President, do you think that we should make this compulsory? Should we have a teacher like Mr. Peter Nyako, having a 30-minute session in class called financial literacy, on the board, teaching the steps on how to make money right from, say, elementary, to as you progress in life?
Absolutely, and you cited a perfect example, Peter Nyako. In fact, he will be a lecturer, not just a teacher. He's a guru on the subject. But let me end my salary. Access Bank is more than just a bank. We are more than banking. This is why my stakeholders will free me of my very busy schedule to come here and impact young ones. Addressing financial literacy aligns with SDG Goal 4, which is quality education. And quality education is all-inclusive, which includes financial literacy. So yes, financial literacy should become a formal subject. We heard the president or the CEO of the GAB talk about how doctors don't understand balance sheets, how very, very astute businessmen get scammed because they don't have understanding of money. So financial literacy, like the way we learn maths, English, science, I believe should be incorporated in our formal education. We're learning so we can earn a living. And when they say earn a living, of course, there's time, there's net worth. There are different forms of currency, but money is primarily the sole, the major means of, earning a living. You have to understand how to manage that money. People find themselves struggling, not because they don't make money, but because they lack the know-how to manage the money that they earn. So I'm all for, making financial literacy a formal subject. And on the question of can you make money without money? Let me just quote Proverbs chapter 18, verse 16. God says that a man's gifts will make room for him and place them before great men. So you have that talent. You have that thing that God has given you to keep you going. All that you require to become is within you. Is the knowledge to bring same out. Money or profit or earning is a society saying thank you for solving a problem. Now, after they say thank you for solving a problem, learn how to manage it and grow it. But fundamentally, you are solving a problem. There's something in you that will be exchanged for money. And after you earn that money, how to manage it is what we are discussing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, I'll come to you now, Madam Sharon. So, from your perspective, what gaps currently exist in financial education among young people in Ghana and Africa at large?
I would say there are several gaps, but I would focus on 3 key areas. So the first gap that I see is that there's a strong knowledge gap between earning money and managing it. So many young people currently are learning how to make money through side hustles, their small businesses, but far fewer understand budgeting, the importance of saving consistently, managing debt, or even planning for the long term. Financial education currently often focuses on income and not financial decision making. Secondly, the financial education currently is too theoretical, I would say, and not practical enough. In schools and even in the university, you see that students rarely learn real life skills, such as how to even open or manage different bank accounts, understanding mobile money and how charges are applied, evaluating loans, or even building basic investment management skills. And as a result, we would see young people who enter into adulthood unprepared for basic financial choices. And then also, there's a major gap in, you'd see that there's low exposure to wealth building concepts. So conversations around investing, pensions, how insurance works, how interests compound, and all these are seen as too advanced or introduced too late in life. So young people, you'd realize, would see money as something that they would ordinarily have to spend or survive on, and not something that can grow strategically over time. So these are the 3 areas that I would highlight on. Overall, I see that the biggest gap is not the intelligence or ambition of our young people. It's the access to practical, context-relevant financial education. And in all honesty, I'm happy with what CFLE is doing currently to make sure that financial literacy is made available to all. Thank you.
Very much. Now, yes, a clap, please. Well said. Now, when it comes to inculcating or making finance compulsory in our schools or in our teaching curricula, it's a policy issue. It's a matter of governance. But even before you touch on that bit for me, do you think that, Mr. Daniel, do you think that we are overlooking a certain aspect of education, say our technical and vocational? Are we too positioned on theory and, overlooking some of these technical and vocational aspects of education before you touch on policy?
Right. Absolutely. And the reason is that, and hear me, my students, secondary, tertiary, total education is said to be 3H. 3H. Education of the head, education of the heart, and education of the hands. So the one we go to school, like we are going through most of it, right through to the university, there seems to be emphasis on education of the head, academic. Education of the heart is what we have to do with morality, ethics, decision making, and so on and so forth. And then we have the critical one, as Madam Sheila said, education of the hands. Education of the hands represents your talent, your skills. So when we were in secondary school, we actually had a combination of all the three. I believe it is so. But because of the highly competitive nature, whether it is necessary or unnecessary, I don't know. But now, parents, teachers, policymakers, everybody is thinking about pass the exam. But when you pass the exam, and then you now come to form what we call Unemployed Graduates Association of Ghana. Hey! Let's all say hey.
Hey.
And hey. Then there's something totally gone wrong. Because if you have the education of the hands, you would apply, When I left the university, hear me out. I left the university directly the last day of our exams in 1984.
Now you're saying A.
and left straight because I had a contract to go and teach in Cameroon. And so I went, and I did not have my papers. So for 1 year, because they said if you attempt to go ahead and teach without the legal papers to stay in the country, they would bring you back. And this was directly after the university. So for 1 year, I had to stay in Cameroon without teaching. And what was I doing? My talent was art. And my first degree was BSc Chemistry. So I got the contract to go and teach in Cameroon chemistry and physics. And for 1 year, I was producing art, where they have A for apple. How do they call those things? They're teaching aids. It was not there in Cameroon. So I survived financially by doing teaching aids before I got my okay legally, So that is it. And this is what policymakers should come into. And that is why we are happy that in a certain way, policy drivers are here. I believe CFLA Africa, maybe the next year, will bring the policy makers, the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance, etc. But the policy drivers are here. We have KPMG here. We have Access Bank here. We have Mimi and a group, I don't know why you are still there, but Enterprise, And so we have the policy drivers here. And I think that gradually we will get there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, in some few minutes, I'm going to open the floor for questions. But let's just step into our final round of questions. Now, I'll start from Madam Priscilla. So, with the rise of mobile money and online platforms, what risk do you think students should be aware of, and how can they protect themselves from some of these, fraudulent activities?
Thank you very much. So I think this is a critical question for today's generation because of technology. So clearly, technology means that our money is accessible, but it also means that our money is fluid and vulnerable. I think we have to educate ourselves about cyber security, phishing activities, and the kind of websites and platforms that we play on. Some platforms will harvest your information and give it out. Some platforms harness your behavior and give it off as well. So we need to be security conscious. Mobile money, MTN is always making announcement, fraud awareness and all of that. I mean, reputable fintech companies will never ask you for your PIN, your link, and stuff like that. Access Bank will definitely never ask you for your PIN, not your PIN for your card or access to your account or any of such. So I think that being aware of the fraud environment is very important, and taking the right decisions or taking the right steps to safeguard your money, which either sits on wallet or sits on various platforms, is very important.
All right, we have to run, unfortunately, but let's run through this. I'll start again from you. What is the one financial advice you'd give to these young people? One financial advice, your take home, their take home.
Thank you. First of all, let me say it is possible. As Papa Daniel said, you seated here, you are your father maybe 25, 30, 40 years ago. And some of the ladies sitting here, you are me or you are any woman you can look up to 30, 40 years back. All right? Money is currency. That's why it moves towards the bank. That's why it's saved. And money has rules. Let's understand money. And money is also a very spiritual thing. I think Uncle Dan has mentioned it severally. Money is a very spiritual thing. And I don't believe that God wants any of us to be in lack. Study to show yourself approved. I mean, you earn if you solve a societal problem. But understand money. Know how to manage money and make good financial decisions. That's why we are having these programs. Delayed gratification. Don't be moved by peer pressure. You know, you want to have a certain lifestyle. There will be time for all of that. It's important to know that you secure your future first before you can enjoy your money. If not, you'll keep working and working and you'll not get that thing that money is supposed to give you, which is liberty, that financial liberty. No, you'll continue to work and work and work because you don't know how to make money or manage money. And you will not always have your strength or your youth. So let's make hay whilst the sun shines. Thank you.
Okay, so for me, 3 things. First of all, don't look down on yourself now. A seed looks small, you put it in the ground and it becomes something big. So don't look down on yourself now. Invest in yourself and it will come back to bless you tomorrow. Number 2, mindset. And mindset is influenced by your environment. So if you are not too happy about what your life is looking like, maybe you have bad financial habits, just look around. It's probably something you're absorbing. So one way I have seen people improve their financial well-being is about changing their environment. So if you have savings clubs, investment clubs, such opportunities, go around that. Another thing I regret not learning quickly was entrepreneurship. And I think that as we hear of unemployed, graduate associations and the rest, it's because most of us finish school and expect someone to hand us, a job. That may not be the reality for all of us. So I think we should have an entrepreneurial mindset. That will make a huge difference. So for me, these are the 3 things I'll leave with you.
Madam Sharon?
All right. So for me, I would say you need to master the art of self-control. Okay. Everybody in this world likes nice things. and wants them. Okay, but mastering the art of self-control and discipline is what will stop you from impulse buying and helping you to save consistently. Self-control will also help you during the time when you have, we spoke about the 50, 30, 20 money rule. And during a time will come, you'll be pressed for money and you'll be tempted to touch that 20% that you have saved. But it's self-control that will help you not touch it and take you through your hard times. So basically, master discipline and self-control when it comes to money. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll take our final advice, but I would want you to touch on the responsibility of parents, in grooming young individuals who have, a money-making mindset.
Right. Thank you very much. So let me practicalize it. Okay. So as parents, first of all, the parents themselves must be aware, and the parents themselves must be excited about financial literacy. And then the parents themselves should seek knowledge, and then they can in a spirited way, impart onto the children and create a family joy of financial literacy. And we have things we call is it piggy banks. When I said that, somebody said you are confused between susu box. So piggy banks would then become susu box when you are growing. And I remember Standard Chartered Bank, when my children were, they had an account for children. I don't know how many of the banks still have that. Access, do we have? No. Like they really focused on they had a nice place, Liberia Road, Standard Chartered. They had a nice place where they tell you to come to the bank with the children. And whilst you are doing your transaction, they had a play place for the children. And then you can open an account for your children, and then they can start getting that idea. And these days, with the IT apps and AI, so I believe that AI can generate a lot of financial games and financial products suited specifically for children. But let me add that as a parent, my children, when they were in the university, for parents, please hear me, by the time my children came out of the university, they had CVs. Because everybody says that, how did they, when you go around, they said, what's your CV? And you said, I've not worked before. Is that right? Yeah. And how can they say I should bring CV when I've not worked before? If they don't give me a chance to work, how can I get the experience? So every holiday, long vacation holiday for my children, they worked somewhere. And Peter Asanyaku knew the trick. Volunteerism. I repeat, volunteerism. During the holidays, look out for Sage Ghana, look out for Ghana Think, look out for organizations like Peter. That's how Peter met me. And he kept on, tormenting my life with volunteerism. He volunteered until one day I said, come and let me listen to you. Are you understanding me? And so please, just volunteer. There was one case where the people said, well, we can take your son, but we can't pay him. And so we, the parents, at the end of every month, would give money to the organization, 500 CDs. And the organization did some paper and gave it to Yoko. And Yoko was earning without knowing that the earning was coming from the parents. That is it. So by the time each of them finished 3 years, 4 years university, they had already a CV. And that is what held them.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow, amazing. Absolutely mind-opening. And I'm sure if you're a parent here, you're taking a thing or two along. Now, I'll open the floor for 5 questions. And so if the ushers can help with a microphone, if you'd want to ask a question, please raise your hands. We come to you, you mention your name, and then you ask your question briefly. All right. Okay, I have 2 hands in front. Please help me with a microphone. All right, the gentleman in blue-black on the 3rd lane, your hands went first.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Good
afternoon
afternoon to
Yeah.
everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Gideon Cranton Apia from Accra Technical University. Thank you very much for the wonderful panel discussion. I want to ask about compound interest. I heard that mentioned a number of times as the 8th wonder of the world. And the second question is the resilience in saving. Sometimes it's hard, it's pressing. So how do we focus on the goal? And I mean, with the pressure and the tendency to touch the savings, how do we set principles to keep the drive going? Thank you.
Thank you very much. He's asking about discipline when it comes to saving. So I would like you to take that, Madam Mimi.
So from my experience, what I realize is that saving is very difficult if you don't have a goal in mind. So you are saving for saving's sake. So before you save, or even when it comes to financial planning, one of the very crucial steps is to sit down and think about your life. Where do you want to be? So for example, if let's say I want to buy a house or I want to build a house, and that's why I'm saving. When I see my friend with a new car, I'll be pressured. But when I go back and remember why I am doing mine, that's where some people talk about vision boards, putting the picture, out there. And I remember that this is what I'm working towards. And it has to be something that is important to me. You remember SMART goals, right? It has to be relevant to me. So if it's something that is relevant to me, and I know that this is what I'm working towards, I may see my friend with a car, I will be pressured, but I go back and look at what I'm working towards, and I come back and focus on it. So what I realize worked for me is having a goal. Why exactly am I saving, rather than saving because we are all saying save. Now, compound interest is also like you buy a chicken, okay, 1 chicken, and then that chicken, gives you some eggs. Now, you don't fry the eggs, but you leave the eggs to hatch and become other chickens. And those chickens also go through that process. So by the time you realize you have a farm. So basically what we are saying is you have 100 cedis, you invest it in something, let's say treasury bill. You invest it in treasury bill and you get a return of 10 cedis. Rather than take the 100 cedis, which is the first chicken, and eat it, or eat the 10 cedis. You put both of them together and roll over and reinvest. So now the interest is now on the 110, not the 100 anymore. So you do this consistently over a long period of time. So the example I gave you, the 100 cedis over 30 years, is about 36,000, if I can remember my calculation rightly. It's about 100 cedis over 30 years. It's about 36,000 or 360,000. Okay, but because you have done it, you didn't take when you did the first 100 cedis, the money that came on, you didn't spend it. Over time, that 360,000 is now 1.4 million. The difference between the 1.4 million and the 360,000 is the interest you have made. So the 360 being your principal and the rest being your interest, because you didn't take the 100 cedis, neither did you take the 10. You kept on rolling over and over and over. And I have seen people, well, I used to work in pensions, so when people retire, I see their balance. And those that didn't take the money, maybe they come and take the money, use it for something, and then start again and come and take the money, use it. You see it at the end of, their working life, that now they have so much that they can fall back on. So that's what we mean by compound interest. Basically, remember the chicken. Don't eat your eggs.
Nice analogy. Okay, 4 more questions to go. We'll do the gentleman in blue.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Moses Nosi Amenveve. I'm also a student at the Accra Technical University, level 100. Yes, so my question is it advisable for students to invest in banks?
Invest in banking.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right, I think this goes for Madam Priscilla.
Thank you. So I think what you're trying to ask is it advisable for students to save? Okay, yes. I mean, once you attain the age of 18 and you can have an account legally, yes, you can save.
I mean, you see, some of us would like to do investing in like bank
Yes.
investments.
So you open an account and don't let your money just sitting in the account for sitting sake. If there's T-bills, put your money into T-bills. It's a fixed deposit. Put your money in fixed deposit. Unless you're asking to buy shares in the bank.
But sometimes the interest is very small.
Well, I don't know where policy makers are.
You just mentioned time. You have the time, young man. Patience.
Yeah. The banking sector is highly regulated. You need to be careful of those who promise you 50% return. Those who promise you 50% return on your principal, those are Ponzi schemes. You need to understand the financial market and know the cost of funds today. Today, if you look at GRR, if anybody promises you 30, 40%, you need to wonder what they're going to use your money to do. High risk means what? There's high returns, but there's also the likelihood that there will be no returns. So we have to take prudential decisions. Banks, we have your savings with us. We don't do risky assets. We book assets very reasonably. We make sure that there's clear-cut, ring-fenced transactions that will bring return and the returns of the money so that we can pay you the promised interest. So, yes, it's all about time. It may seem small now, but over time, as Mimi said, don't eat the yield or the chickens, continue to roll it over and it will become something substantive. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So let's be very, we are in a microwave generation where everything is hot. Let's be very careful. The way you can make that 50%, you can lose, So where I work, we have a fund, which is an equity or a balance fund. And when the equities were doing, those who invest in equities will know. When I say equity shares, you hear GCB, MTN. When they were doing well, they were maybe returning 100% in a month, in 2 months. That's from the beginning of the year. You saw people go and take all their money and go and put it in shares. The same way you see it go up so much. They say someone brought in 1 million and in a week or two it had gone to 960,000 and their heart. When it comes to money, you need to understand what you're doing. Also, true wealth, you need patience. You need patience. So if you want kwakwa, you get the first one, you get the second one, but go and ask the men's good.
All right. A round of applause. Mr. Daniel, you wanted to add? You're fine. Okay. Little drops of water. Okay. All right. We have 3 more questions. Okay. I see a lady's hand up. Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Mary Alaglu. Now, I've heard people saying we shouldn't put our money into one bank and that something might go wrong. How do you advise that we put our money into several other banks? Or how do you advise us sharing it? Because we are to do 50, 30, 20, right? So 20% of our savings. So how do you advise? Or do you advise that we actually put our money into several other banks?
All right. Madam Banker.
Thank you very much. So I think what you're asking is not to put your eggs in one basket. It's not necessarily one bank. I mean, if you have plenty money, of course, you will not put it all into one bank because of solvency issues and what can be returned to you in case, the bank goes bust. But thanks to a very regulated, framework that we have per BOG, I don't see any bank going down. Putting your eggs in several baskets means don't put all your eggs or all your money in, let's say, fixed deposit or T-bills. Diversify, interest here, shares here, savings here. You look at long term. So for long term, you can do investment. And for short term, you can do, say, call account, something you can call on every 15 days, 20 days, or 30 days. And then maybe 1 year T-bill, 90-day fixed deposits. So just have a potpourri of investment, looking at when they mature based on your needs. So you know that you need something in 2 years or in 3 years. You don't put it in a short-time investment. You put it in a long-term investment. And then if you need something that will return quickly, there's a call account, there's savings accounts. And please, discuss with your bankers. Or today, for Access Bank, we have relationship managers. And so for every account holder, you are entitled to a relationship manager who is your financial advisor. They will speak to you. So maybe I have 50,000. Where do you think I should place it? Can I invest it here? I'll need it in 30 days and all of that. They are available to give you that advisory service because we are more than just a bank. We believe in financial literacy and we will help you grow your money. Thank you.
Thank you very much. 2 more questions to go. Wow. 2 more questions to go. Oh, I think we haven't gotten a question from this lane. Okay.
Good afternoon. So I go by the name Enoch Klajekpo from West Africa Senior High School. So first, my question is, at what age does person need to attain before investing? And secondly, what common mistakes do beginners make when they start investing, and how can we avoid them?
All right, Madam Sharon, would you want to take this one?
I think I heard Priscilla say 18 years, right? So once you're 18, you should be able to consider investments. And you were also asking about what's common mistakes people make, right? One that I would say is being too looking at probably getting, risky ventures. Yes, being greedy and looking at risky ventures, which you feel would probably give you more money now than probably the ones that will take longer time to materialize and give money. So I believe time is one thing that you should be cautious of. Ensure that whatever investments that you go into, you look at what your goal is at the end of the day and ensure that you're making the right decisions. Okay.
All right, let's take the 2 questions you'd want to add. Okay.
Yes, just quickly. So, as we've heard, the higher the risk, or the higher the return, the higher the risk. So you have to be very agile, smart. So, for instance, right now, the treasury bill started from 30-something. Is that right? And then it's gone down all the way to 4%. So at this point, some people are looking at the microfinance organizations. Now, 2-3 years ago, almost 80% of them went down. But there are some that are still strong. And currently they are doing like 5% above the T-bill. So that is higher risk, but higher return. But the risk is not as high as men's gold that we didn't even understand. You understand what they're saying? So you have to then take a bit of the money and maybe put there. And so you spread, and then also you look at even somebody who is selling wachi. Hello, listen to this. You can invest in somebody who is selling wachi because the grandmother was selling the wachi at the same place. The mother was selling wachi at the same place. She's selling wachi at the same place. If you invest there, you get wachi to eat, number one. And then you get your returns, which they are making more money than any kind of investment. So these are some of the things. There are more, but because of time.
Yeah. So we'll take the last 2 questions. Yeah, we'll do the gentleman in the suit and then the gentleman in the African print.
Okay,
yes,
my name is Lawrence Kuma. I'm from University of Professional Studies, Accra. Sincerely, I'm somebody that have business-minded to start business, have enterprise on my own. But sometimes when you are saving, it will happen that either your phone spoiled, that you have to use that money to repair it, or you need something urgent to do. And sometimes too, you have to buy some clothes for yourself that some of us, our parents don't believe in lavish dressing properly, then things. They only pay your school fees and give you feeding fee. And my source of income is my feeding fee that I save towards my business. But I have to buy clothing, I have to buy boxer shorts.
You like to look good.
Yeah, I have to look good.
You like to look sharp, and you're looking good, by the way.
Yeah.
He's sharp. Look at him. Can we clap for him? Yeah.
So my question is, how can I manage my social life and my investments?
Good question. Good question. Mr. Daniel, would you want to take this?
All right. So, your name again? Lawrence. Okay. Lawrence the sharpshooter. Okay. So, you're looking good. You're looking excellent. You know, but one thing, this dress may be you. I'm saying may be false. Hello. You didn't go to the Osu shops to buy it, is that right? So you can actually dress sharply without necessarily spending money. Hello? Right. And then also, you have to have an objective. Every time, let us all start with objective, your goal. Because in Nigeria, particularly, and in Ghana, somebody will have a Mercedes Benz. Listen carefully. And it's because he wants to go and use it for business. To go and show for the kind of business. That is his objective. But that person sleeps in the night in the Mercedes Benz. So the money for rent and everything is zero. So the car, but in the morning, he goes and uses it to transact whatever business he wants to do. So always make sure that you have your goal. And if you have your goal very clear, you will work towards it at all times. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You'd want to add, okay.
So I think that Madam Priscilla touched on this, but let me emphasize. So every money you earn, you can divide it into three. So you have a part that goes towards, so let's say 100 cedis. You can decide to use the 50-30-20 principle. So 50%, which is 50 cedis, will go to, let's say, a basket. Now that 50 cedis, you are going to use it for your needs, anything you need. So you mentioned you have to buy boxes. Of course, you have to wear boxes before you come. So that's a need. You understand? Then 30% goes towards your wants. So wants are things that, like, they are nice to have. Like, maybe, let me use your phone, for example. If you don't repair your phone, you may not die. Like, you can survive, you can be okay. But something is an example, okay? It's something that you want. You should have room in your budget for that. Then a part of your income, which is 20%, should go towards your savings. The purpose of your savings is for your future. Now, as part of that savings, you can have a bit of it. So let's say the 20 cedis. You can decide to put 5 cedis away towards your emergency fund. Emergency fund is basically to help with emergency. So your phone getting spoiled. Let's assume that you do business on your phone. You really need it. And the 50 and 30, maybe you've already assigned it to things. You can go into that savings or that investment that you've put the 5 cedis over time and take that to fix your phone. The rest of the 15 is going to grow your money over time. Is this something you can do? Is it something you can do? So you can look nice and not be broke.
Good one. Thank you very much, Madam Mimi. Now, our final question. We can't do more. No, we can't do. Let's take this gentleman. After the session, we'll have a networking time. You get the chance to speak to our panel. So, apologies, gentleman at the back. Okay, all right.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Asari Thomas Asemeni from Accra Technical University. I would also like to ask the main difference between owning shares in a company and also investing in the company. What's the difference between the two? and which one will you advise students as us to venture into if you want to make it in the future or for our generation?
Fantastic, thank you. I'm sure Uncle Dan will speak to it after I do. Because I remember him in KPMGs. All of us are father Pam. Anyway, so shares is saying you want to be part of the company. So it's long term, it's ownership. But I like the fact that you're dreaming big, because like Mimi said, we must always save towards something. And I would say for you to have a good savings culture, you have to dream big. Not just think about the peripherals. You think it's too difficult for you to own a home. I started making savings towards buying a house when I was in this university. I bought my first car when I was in this university. Because you see, during vacation, when we go to London, the only skill I had from Wesley Girls was envelope
So
edges.
you hold on.
Oh,
Pull the brakes. Now, this is the point you just made. You mentioned earlier, no, I would want some clarification, because you mentioned earlier when we started this discussion, you mentioned that you weren't born with a silver spoon.
I was not.
Now, you're going to London for vacations in the university. That's a full program of a dadaba. You know what I mean?
No, not at all. Not at all. So, during those days, it was easier for university students to get visas. So level 100, right, first semester, it was winter. You'd think I'll wait for summer, right? Winter, I put the application through. And I got an opportunity. I got a visa. So I had a travel agent. And let me tell you, reputation is also currency. Someone has to trust you. Uncle Dan was talking about investing in a watch seller. I was going to talk about trust issues. You know those informal people. You come and say, "One for mommy." You know, so trust is a currency. Someone took the chance on me and gave me a ticket, knowing I'll go and come back. And when I went, I worked. I used to work in a place called House of Fraser, and they'll give me 8 rooms to clean, labels, do envelope. When I remember I went for the interview, they said, "Have you done this job before?" I said, "Yes." You know, the envelope edge and all that, and say that. Just because in Wesley Girls, I know we used to lay our bed and do the envelope edges. And those times, they were not so strict about working on student visas and all of that. I'm not saying go and do something illegal about immigration and all of that. So I worked. And when I came back, I didn't get accommodation on campus. So for me, transportation was a very important thing. Paying transport to come from Mpasem to Legon and all of that. Joining cars, and you want to mine late, you can't learn and all of that. So I bought a little Golf 3. And I was very happy with it. So right in this university, I heard about commercial investment. They are doing some mortgage. You pay 200 CDs, and after 3 years, they'll give you some. I did all that because I dreamt big. So it's good you are thinking about buying or owning shares in a company. So maybe Mimi will also speak to that. You need to have a company profile, know about the company. The shareholders must be willing to share part of the company to you. Sometimes they come at a point where they are now offshooting. So you are taking a risk on a company which is not off ground. They themselves are looking for money to start their company. So they are looking at debt and equity. At that point, you are going in blind. You are investing in a company. You want to be a shareholder of a company that has not yet picked up. But by the time it picks up and is doing very well, their shares will also be expensive for you to buy. So buying shares is buying equity ownership in a company. So if your ownership is 0.0000 something, it means that every profit that company will make, they will give you dividends. And sometimes they have clauses of when dividends are due or mature and all those terms. But investment is, I don't want equity. I just want to invest. Maybe you have an instrument that has a yield of, say, 10%, 15%, 12%, or whatever. So you just want to make an investment. Investments are usually seen as long-term, while savings are, kind of short-term or timed. They revolve and, mature quickly, and you do your rollovers and all of that. But investments are things like bonds. Okay, when you are doing a bond, it's not equity. You are not owning shares. So government comes out to float, let's say, an infrastructural bond or a green bond. You have some money out there, the bond will mature in 7 years. They tell you a coupon rate of 4 or 5 or whatever, and you're interested. So investment is long-term, and equity is more of ownership, owning shares in a company. But you need to do your due diligence and all of that in that respect, yeah.
Okay.
So with equity, we have private equity and then we have the public equity. So private equity is like the Wachi example he was given, just to make it as easy. Where you see a business, it's not on the stock exchange, but you want to invest. But you don't, it's not like I'm giving you money, give me back this plus interest, but I'm putting money in this. When it becomes good, I'll get my share, sort of. So that's equity. Now we have the public, the stock exchange. So in Ghana, we have the Ghana Stock Exchange. There are certain institutions, normally big institutions, that list their shares on the Ghana Stock Exchange. So for example, MTN, a lot of you may be using MTN. MTN makes so much money from call data and all that. And by buying MTN shares, you are also one of the people that benefits when MTN makes profit at the end of the year. And then they decide to declare dividend. When I say dividends, it's like a part of the profit that they've decided to give to their shareholders. If MTN decides to pay dividends, that means that you, as a shareholder, also get some. But sometimes people say it's small. It's dependent on the number of shares you get, you have. More shares, more dividends. Another way you can make money on the stock exchange is what we call capital appreciation. So, for example, when MTN came onto the stock market, the price was about 75 pesos. As I yesterday, when I checked, if I can remember, it's about 61 pesos. So, if you had put 75 pesos and you had patience to ride, because the price went down to 50 pesos, then it came up, went down, came up, went down. If you had patience to wait, your 75 pesos per share is now about 6 cedis per share. So that's how the stock market works.
All right, thank you all so much. A round of applause for this panel. Thank you all so much for being such an engaging audience. We will be stepping into the second session of this conference, which is we're delving into the financial literacy challenge. It's an inter-school financial planning competition. And so in just about 3 minutes, we'll be having Presec Legon. Can I hear a clap from Presec Legon? Nice. We'll have West Africa Senior High School and APAM Senior High School on stage. Thank you once again. We'll take a quick breather and we'll be back. All right? All right. Okay, so we can take pictures now. Obafo, please serenade us.